Tucker believes God is using Oasis of Hope to give her a chance to
overwhelming spiritual presence that sings with you, they pray with you, you become a family.
Tucker has been in remission now for 2 years. Oasis of Hope was started in 1963 by the late Mexican doctor Ernesto Contreras Sr., who believed in taking a holistic approach.
Father felt that the reason for the failure in oncology and medicine overall is that we have become just mechanics of the human body.
So the idea for Oasis of Hope originated back in the early 1960s when Contreras' father decided to go on a missions trip to Greece. And on that trip, he discovered 3 important elements that are today at the core of the hospital. To focus on the patient's emotional renewal, spiritual revival, as well as physical restoration. The founder's grandson, Daniel Kennedy, serves as the hospital's CEO.
So there is no other clinic in Tijuana that actually has a pastor on the payroll, praying for patients every day, opening with praise and worship.
Pez is that pastor. He used to lead a local church in Tijuana. Now he walks the corridors of the hospital, ministering to the spiritual and emotional needs of patients.
Yeah. You've seen a lot of miracles? A lot of miracles, miracles of healing, miracles of salvation.
Using a combination of conventional treatments with alternative therapies such as whole body hypothermia, ozone therapy, and dendritic cell vaccine immunotherapy, Oasis of Hope says it has treated more than 100,000 cancer patients from 60 countries.
The majority come from the United States because we're just across the border from San Diego.
So you're in charge of everything that lands on a patient's table here at Oasis. Rosa Tesada is the hospital's nutritionist. Working with kitchen staff, Tesada has designed a cancer-fighting plant-based food program to help patients live a healthier life. 90% of the meals served here are vegan-based.
Okay, so we don't want to make anybody feel like you have to leave your old life back. Just let's add some new, more greens, more vegetables, and then just kind of enjoy food and go along with it.
Prepare healthy meals.
So what we do is help them to see, hey, you can make very healthy
For life. And God will decide yes, no, or maybe.
Jesus came so we could have life. And it's so wonderful to know that there's a place like Oasis of Hope for people to receive not just physical healing, but emotional and spiritual renewal too. Stay with us because after the break, the mum of a famous footballer shares the key to successful parenting. You don't want to miss this. Your turning point experience doesn't have to end when the Welcome back. Most parents who have placed their children in a sports program know it comes with great rewards, but it also takes great sacrifice. About some of the lessons she learned about parenting a champion.
So Jenny Lynch, thank you so much for joining us on TPI. You are the mother of...
And I think as an educator, that's what you have to be mindful of. Although you have those principles and standards in place, you also have to be considerate of where every child is coming from. And with our own children, although they all come from the same background, the same family, they're also very, very different. And they were allowed to flourish in what they were good at. And some people in maybe the Christian sort of, in the churches, don't necessarily believe in certain things. They think, why are you allowing them to do this or allowing them to do that? But I believe if you teach them the basic principles according to the Bible, then they will be able to flourish in whatever they're doing, whether that be in social media, which some people think that's not really not really a proper job, for example. They think they should be a doctor or a teacher or a lawyer. But I think every child able to do, then I think that's part of it. That's part of their success, is they're allowed to be who they are.
One of the things that we hear a lot from Christian parents is their worry about their children being in a school where certain things they don't believe are being taught. Talk about knowing people are taking their children out, taking them off to either a Christian school or something of it. So what are your thoughts on that?
I don't think you have to be a follower of Christ, and that doesn't mean, because sometimes you can be in a Christian school, and there are a lot of children that are in Christian schools, and when they get to a certain age they go, oh my gosh, I'm so glad to get out of here, and they are off and they are out and they are doing their own thing, you know, and that is what happens. But you've got to realise, I didn't go to a Christian school. I wasn't brought up in a Christian school, and in fact there was some bullying that went on because my dad was a minister whenever I was young. So if you instill that into your children, wherever they are, whether they're in Christian education or in secular education, they will be that light shining, and they will shine brightly, and that's also what is within them.
You mentioned your children whose lights are shining, and we've got millions subscribing to them. We've got your daughter with fans screaming from the sidelines as she's dribbling the ball. So as a parent watching now, and they've got 3 children, let's say Sally with 3 children, and Sally's wondering, how do I figure out what these children are good at?
For number one, no matter how many children you have, do not think they are going to be all the same, but challenge them in different areas. When the children were very young, they were taken to football.
Thank you so much for joining us on TPI. It's been great speaking with you.
Thank you. Bless you.
Some great words of wisdom from Mama Lynch. Now stay with us, because after the break, a couple wakes up to discover they're
in a dark room. It was very black and it was hot and I couldn't breathe. And I woke up and there was a texture in the air and I still couldn't breathe. And I ran in the opposite direction of the kitchen.
Jason ran through the
understand. I was like, yeah. We'd turn on the worship music. We'd start praying in the Spirit. We'd start speaking life over his body. By this point, it's not coming to him with weeping eyes and a heavy heart anymore. Confidence and with authority, we came before him and he said, you know, life and life more abundantly, nothing missing, nothing broken.
He truly means it. Nothing is impossible with the God of all flesh. The scripture Jason mentions comes from Psalm 34.